video because I myself do not believe in tarot reading, at least not in the classic sense. However, I think tarot reading might be a wonderful addition to my life. I'm experimenting with it, and it's nothing like predicting the future or anything like that. It's all about connecting to my intuition. And a deck of tarot cards can help if that's what you want to do. So if this makes you in any way curious, please go and check that video out. Anyway, I think some of you maybe did not see that video. So here I am. Basically, let me give you a quick summary. Very quick, like a 2-sentence summary. By the way, if you hear some snoring or purring, my cat Mikey is laying down here next to me on the bed, and she's very content and happy, a little bit like me, although I'm not purring. Well, yet, that is. Who knows what's gonna happen. Anyway, the summary. Basically, I had a busy week coming up last Sunday. The week that it's just, finished now. It's Friday, at the end of the working day now that I'm recording this. It's like 4:30. 4:30 you would say in English, right? Like in British English, maybe American too, I don't know. That's kind of funny because in Dutch you can actually also say 4:30 and then you would actually mean 3:30. However, this is neither here nor there. The summary was, for the first time since the lockdown and the pandemic, I had a busy week with several meetings and outings and appointments, I don't know, all things social basically, including one visit of 2 friends with their toddlers, something that I really looked forward to. However, they would spend the night over at my place, and although I love that, it's also sort of, I'm usually kind of tired after something like that, and that has nothing to do with them. As a matter of fact, most people are not allowed to stay in my home because I know me as an introvert, I just cannot deal with that all that well. So the fact that they are, very welcome to sleep in my home is actually like one of the highest compliments that I can give a person. However, still, even though, and it's not that I don't like it, right? I feel like sometimes people think that introverts just do not like to be social, and that's not the case. It's just that it somehow drains my energy, and that can be in a good thing. It's just that I need some time to recoup afterwards, and as long as the social activities are sort of spaced out, and I know that I have enough time in between to recoup, I don't know, I can say those things, recoup, anyway, you get what I'm saying, I think. Then I'm fine. Actually, then I like it that way. However, this time I had 2 meetings on Monday. Then my friends arrived Tuesday during the day already, and then they spent the night and they stayed till Wednesday somewhere in the afternoon. And then Wednesday evening I had a very important presentation, like a lecture kind of thing, that I had to give, a paid job. So I really felt some pressure to do well, to perform well, and it was virtual. But because my son is also at home, I asked another friend to spend some time with my son. As a single mom, sometimes I do these things when my son is asleep, and I just, it works out fine. But since this was a paid opportunity, I did not want to, put my son to sleep and hope for the best. So I had like a babysitter, and then I spent the time afterwards. I had dinner with his friend, and we talked, and we had a wonderful evening actually. And then the day after that, in the evening, I had another online class where I was the lecturer. So basically, it was a whole week of activities that in and of itself were great activities. However, there was just no time to, get some energy back. And that's actually the topic of the tarot reading that I used. And I don't even remember exactly what I concluded. In a way, I concluded that, no, I don't even remember. The strange thing is, I felt that the tarot reading really helped me during this week. I think one of the things that I concluded was that I could try and find some calmness in between. I don't even remember. This is what happens. I'm really drained because of this week, and at this point I feel calm and collected, but it's mostly because today today's a working day, a full working day, so my son is at the daycare. He still is. I'm gonna pick him up after I've recorded this video. So I had time to basically collect my thoughts and do some work, and I feel it's a little bit like a hangover, like it's a social hangover. So I try to be kind to myself in a week like this, meaning that, for example, this morning at first I thought, okay, I feel some energy, I'm just gonna work and work and work. And then I tried to send an email and I tried to write something, and I was like 10 minutes in and I just felt so overwhelmed. And I recognize that really well nowadays because I'm trying to train myself to feel less of that. And then what usually happens if I feel overwhelmed is that I start to remember all these things that I have to do, like, oh, and this and this and this and this and this. And now I just knew, like, okay, I'm not gonna do this. So I thought, let's stop all the work and let's start to play The Sims. So I loaded The Sims and I allowed myself some time to play. And then the silliest thing happened. I thought I can play at least for 30 minutes and an hour tops, and then we'll see again, because by now I know that it's a very good thing to allow myself some rest in moments like these and to not feel guilty about it. And B, it's also good to try and see how much rest I need, because before I would usually think like, okay, I need rest, so I would just take the morning off. And nowadays I know that sometimes even 15 or 30 minutes into the resting, I'll already feel like, hey, I think I can work again. So I try to keep my eyes open for that feeling, because it's okay if I need a long rest. I'm not going to feel guilty about it. Actually, I'm going to enjoy it. However, I'm also going to be open to the possibility that I do not need a long rest. So what happened now was actually kind of funny. I had to laugh pretty hard at myself. I allowed myself 30 minutes of playing The Sims. So I opened a sim that I'm currently playing with, and she felt terrible. She was kinda hungry, kinda had to pee, kinda needed to shower, kinda needed to sleep, but her fun was also really low. And I just looked at all these all these data points, all these things, and I was like, oh my god, now I need to take care of her as well. And I don't know how, and I don't know, oh boy. And then I just felt like I don't even want to play The Sims. This sim is just as unhappy as I am. Wow. So then I had to laugh so much. I was like, oh boy. I'm just bringing the energy that I have myself into the game. So I clicked the game away again, and I allowed myself to watch some videos on YouTube for like a little while, and I immediately fell asleep. And then I woke up. I situations well enough to just allow for that to happen. So yeah, let's see. I actually wanted to give you a summary of the week, but let's see. On Monday, I actually felt pretty good. I don't know why, but I didn't feel much stressed. Both meetings went well and were fun. Then on Tuesday, I started to feel a little bit like, oh my god, there's a lot to do still. I also had to prepare for the lecture, and I knew my friends were coming, and I was like, oh, I don't know. Then when my friends actually arrived, we basically had a lot of fun. It's usually like that, once they're here, it's sort of like you don't have time to think about all these things, so you also don't have time to obsess about all these things. So basically we just had a lot of fun. It was wonderful to see them again. And it was also really nice to see our toddlers together. There were 3 toddlers. My son was the middle one. He just turned 2. One of the toddlers is almost 3, and the other toddler is now 18 months, so a year and a half. So yeah, it was chaotic, and it was a big sleepover. And now I don't know if you've watched my house tour videos, but my apartment is pretty small. I have 1 bedroom, so basically there were toddlers everywhere. Although for the better part of the evening, or like from 7 o'clock till midnight, they were all asleep in the bedroom, and it was the cutest thing. We just a couple of times we just went in to look at them. There was this little bed where the youngest one was sleeping, and then there was like my and my son's big bed, just a double bed, and there were 2 of the other toddlers were sleeping in there together, and it was just so very cute. So that was wonderful, actually. Then Wednesday, the lecture thing also went well. We did not sleep well because the toddlers ended up getting awake at night and then waking each other, obviously, and then they were also awake very early on, so we just got a couple of hours of sleep, I think like 4 or 5 hours, well, not even 5, I think. And also we went to bed pretty late because we just enjoyed each other's company. So for the lecture thingy, I think the tiredness helped me, because I was just not that afraid. I was just too tired to be anxious about it, and it actually went well. I think. And then the lecture thingy class on Thursday already felt like a breeze, because usually that is a moment of anxiety a little bit in my week. But this time I just knew that, I had survived all these things already, and it was like, this is just gonna be easy. And also it was gonna be the last thing in the row, because I thought I had another thing on Friday morning, but that got rescheduled in 2 weeks. So Friday already would be like clear. I mean, I still plan to do work. I did work, but by myself. So yeah, that was actually nice. And I'm still forgetting, I also went to a friend. I visited a friend who has a baby, who just had a baby. When was that? Was it yesterday? It might have been yesterday, but was it really yesterday? Or the day before? No, not the day before. It couldn't have been the day before. I think it was yesterday. this weekly review together with all of you, the first thing that I'm thinking about is that I'm still planning too much. Like, too many things on my actual to-do list, and I'm getting better at this, but still. So for example, this week I started out with one of my tasks was to finish all of last week's tasks that I didn't finish last week. And even this week I didn't get to finish all of them, and I still got some tasks of this week left. So I feel like next week there should be a to-do list thingy telling me to do last week's tasks, and then one of those tasks will be doing the week before. It's one of my pitfalls that I'm just planning too many things all the time. So I once again have to downgrade, to plan even less, which is a wonderful thing. And also, I should maybe kinda not add it to my calendar, to my planner like this, because if you add to last week tasks, it sort of feels like you're already behind. So maybe I should just cross out the tasks that I didn't get to do, and the one that I still want to do, I should just re-add them to the next week instead of writing down do last week's tasks. I don't know if you get what I'm trying to say, but I think that will help. One other thing that I do like is the daycare schedule that I'm using now. I've only been using it since the beginning of June, so I'll give myself some more time to experiment. But basically my son is going to the daycare every morning, and then on Monday and on Friday also in the afternoon, but the other days only during the morning time. And that gives me the morning hours, the hours that I usually am able to work the best, to actually work. And so far that works way better than my previous schedule, which was my son going to the daycare 3 times a week, 3 days a week, but then the whole day, and then 4 days, not going to the daycare at all. And I thought that would be a great system for me, but it turned out to be quite the opposite actually. So I think that is good. And then secondly, I do also realize that I most definitely do not want a week like this again. I want to protect my time, and I want to schedule time in between my meetings. And that's a lesson for me. That's a matter of boundaries. Usually what happens is, for example, my friends, we were trying to schedule, our little date. And they asked if they could come on Wednesday, and I was like, no, because then I have the lecture, but how about Tuesday? And I'm thinking now what I should have said was, oh, I would love for you to come. This week is not working for me. And this has to do with me trying to learn that it is okay to set boundaries. And I mean, on a theoretical level, I know that's okay, but there's like this fear that people might not like you if you actually do that. It's like, I want to please my friends. So that's something for me to work on. And also, I'm realizing that for me to give lectures, actually this was a paid opportunity, and the payment was actually quite well. And at first I was like, oh, that's actually a lot of money. But now I'm thinking like, well, was it? I mean, yes. From the viewpoint of the people paying me for what they were paying and what they got, I think it was a fair price. But I start to realize that I should really take into account the fact that for me to give a presentation, although I actually think I'm quite good at it, it just takes me 2 whole days. One day before of anxiety and of stressing and of preparing, and then one day afterwards because I'm just exhausted. And it doesn't mean I should never do it. In fact, to do it sometimes, I think that's something that I like, and it's good for my, because it just literally cost me 2 days. And that is okay, but then I want a higher pay, and if somebody does not want to pay that, that's fine too, but then I'm just not gonna do it. Then I'm just not gonna do it anymore. And that's fine. That's just, no, it's more than fine. That's awesome. That way I can just get paid what I'm worth, or I'm just not doing it. And also, I should remember that if I get another of these lectures, I should just plan a day off the next day, or just a day without, maybe I'll plan a working day afterwards, but then I'll just make sure that my to-do list is empty, so I can just follow my energy that day. So I can see what I want to do. Maybe I want to go for a walk. Maybe I want to play The Sims. Maybe I want to write something, or, I can just do whatever. I should schedule that. From now on, I should just know, okay, if I'm doing this, if I'm gonna give some sort of presentation, lecture kind of thing, okay, then I need 2 days, and I need this amount of money. And if not, that's okay, but then it's just not for me. And I feel that's so promising and freeing, that you can actually decide things like that. And it's also kind of hard, because the same as with telling my friends that I love to see them, but not this week, the same goes for here. Actually, as a matter of fact, I'm practicing it right now. I have this other kind of thing where people ask me, if I could come and tell something. And at first I was like, yeah, maybe we'll see. I mean, they were pretty vague about when and how it would actually be happening, because of the pandemic and the lockdown, obviously. So at first I was like, okay, we'll see, let me know if you have something more concrete, and then we can talk about it. And now they came back to me. They were like, okay, we're probably gonna do it in January of next year. So are you in? And at this point I thought, okay, I'm just gonna ask the same price of them. And now they want to call me, which I, by the way, hate, because I hate calling. I hate the phone, but still. And now it kind of feels like, oh my god, they're gonna hate me. They're gonna think I'm stupid for asking this money. And I really feel like, okay, there's a lesson here, this is an opportunity for me to grow. I have to be somebody who is okay with them hating me because I'm asking this amount of money. And as a matter of fact, they might not at all hate me. They might respect me for it. They might be like, yeah, that's too bad, we can't pay that, but sure, I mean, good for her for asking it. Or, I mean, and maybe they really hate me. The point is, I have no idea what they're thinking. They might even be like, okay, we'll pay you that. I mean, the lecture I had this week, I also at first thought they were not gonna pay me. And then I kind of asked and insisted on, what's the budget? And then there turned out to be quite a big budget. So I was like, oh, okay, awesome. But the thing is, no matter what they're actually thinking, I can grow by not caring about that, by just knowing that it is okay for me to ask money for my work, and also that I don't have to do all the jobs that people ask me to do, that I'm allowed to decline, or that I'm allowed, and that I'm allowed to set my price. And that actually feels really good, and also scary, because I know that I have to do it, I have to actually set those boundaries. But as I've noticed with a lot of things that I find to be scary at first, it gets better once you do it a couple of times. The first time might be very scary,